everyone, and welcome to Alpha IVF Group podcast series, Where Fertility Meets Future. I'm Christina Ng Lim from Alpha IVF Group, and I'm honored to be your host as we begin this exciting journey together. For our debut episode, we are diving into a powerful and timely topic where we discuss about the region's fertility market on trends, challenges, and opportunities. To unpack this, we have a distinguished guest, our very own, the founder and group managing director of Alpha IVF Group, Dato Dr Colin Lee. He is widely recognized for introducing groundbreaking fertility technologies to Malaysia, building one of the region's most advanced IVF ecosystems and leading Alpha IVF Group's expansion across Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, and beyond. His leadership continues to shape clinical excellence, innovation in genetics, and the future direction of reproductive care in the region. So in today's episode, we will explore the evolving fertility market as well as the whole landscape and actually currently what is the opportunities or rather the trends that we see in the fertility market in the region actually. So, hi Dato Dr. Colin.
Hello.
Hello. So we are truly honored to have you here with us today. So, Alpha IVF Group has grown into one of the most well-known fertility networks in the region. So from this, what is your perspective and what has been the driving force behind how it is and where it is today?
This region we are referring basically to Southeast Asia, and the population in Southeast Asia is continuing to become more urbanized. And we know that as society becomes more urbanized, so would be the infertility rate. And also, we need to appreciate that people are getting married later. And even those that get married, they tend to delay starting a family. So all these factors contribute towards a rising infertility rate. Also, we notice that in Southeast Asia, the population is still generally young. And if you look at Indonesia, with a population of about 280 million, 180 million are actually below the age of 45, meaning that they are still at the age where they may still consider wanting to have a baby. And those who are much younger will, in their time, also may want to have a child. So we can see that the need for fertility assistance or fertility treatment will continue to rise in this region. And in fact, it is well known that the country which has the most potential in terms of increasing need for assisted reproduction is Indonesia.
As you mentioned, there's also a global social trend that seems to be worrying in terms of, countries like Korea or even Japan and Singapore, because we see that the birth rate is actually dropping. So would that in turn affect the fertility industry or the business in a long run, in the long term? And how is that going for Alpha actually?
It is true that more and more couples in the developed world and also to a smaller extent in the developing world who do not wish to have children or they go for what we call furry kids, all right. Yes, so this is a recognized thing, and those countries where the population is actually declining, like you mentioned, South Korea, the government is actively trying to promote assisted reproduction and actually putting in money and funds, try to incentivize people to have children. So yes, all these factors fall into the metrics, but at the end of the day, you will see that the demand for fertility treatment will continue to rise especially in Southeast Asia.
Okay. So thank you for that explanation. Actually, that really answers people's question around about this pregnancy rate and all that is dropping. So apart from that, so when Dato just or first founded Alpha IVF, what vision actually did you have in mind for the group, and how has that vision adapted to the industry today? Knowing that the things are changing, patient expectations is changing as well. So yeah, how is that coming along?
Well, in a way, it was fortuitous or circumstantial in that when I set up the Alpha IVF Center in 2011, and in the month of July, we did our first egg pickup, our first IVF, and amongst the first cases was a first in the world where this patient who had a chromosome inversion and who had been repeatedly having miscarriages came to us, and we detected the chromosome inversion, and we actually transfer an embryo without the inversion. After detecting it, we transferred fresh back into the uterus, and that was the first in the world for a fresh transfer of a embryo that we detected no inversion. So that kind of encourages us to move on and to use our expertise and our knack at innovation to want to provide services to more and more couples. And in addition to that, even more so was that we have always been achieving very high pregnancy rates, I would say about the highest worldwide, in the comments of many third-party top clinicians, top embryologists from around the world who are familiar with our results. The comment has always been that our results are as good as the top in the US and as good as the top in Europe. So with that kind of encouragement, we continue to provide services, and also in recognition of that and with all the successes, it was very natural that our patient base grew exponentially. And over the next several years, we had more doctors that joined us, and then we continue to provide these very efficient high pregnancy services to more and more couples.
Right. So I understand as well in terms of these pregnancy rates, and it also don't just involve the doctor alone. It involves the technology, involves the embryologist, and all of that comes together. So perhaps, Dato, you would like to explain this model that Alpha IVF has been practicing, and we have achieved what Alpha is today.
The IVF program, and I use the word program, is a pretty complicated one. IVF is not a method. It is not a technique. It is not a technology. It is not a SOP. It is not a process. It is a program that consists of numerous processes, and each process consists of many elements: equipment, skill, SOPs, and techniques, and R&D, and so on and so on. So if you were to look at a car, you may think that a car is not a very complicated thing, but even a simple car would have 9,000 to 10,000 parts, and an average car, in fact, has about 16,000 to 18,000 parts. Similarly, the IVF program consists of thousands of parts, and if you were to dissect them, these parts are not played just by the doctor. It is not played just by the scientists that are behind the walls of the laboratory. It is also played by equipment people, by nurses, by counselors, by anesthetists, by the OT staff, and so on. So if anything goes wrong in any of the parts, you don't get a baby. So you have thousands of elements that could spoil the making of this cake, a very complicated cake. And very importantly, apart from the doctors, the scientists, the embryologists, geneticists, and so on. So everybody plays a part, and there's just too many elements, and it also explains why a particular center can get pregnancy rates of 70%, whereas another center down the road can get pregnancy rates of only 35%. So you imagine that if one part is 2% better than the other center, and another part is 3% better, 0.3% better, 0.8% better, you do the math, and that's why you get 70% versus 35%.